My name is Cody Ross, and I'm doing my speech on the role of the NCAA. The NCAA was founded in 1906 by President Theodore Roosevelt. Today, the president of the NCAA is Mark Emmert. The NCAA stands for the National Collegiate Athletic Association and is a member-led organization dedicated to the well-being and lifetime-long success for college athletes. According to the NCAA, there are 1,117 colleges and/or universities under the organization. Within the organization, there are 100 different athletic conferences and over 40 different sports involved with the NCAA. There are nearly 500,000 student athletes that play under the NCAA every year. The NCAA is made up of colleges and/or universities around the United States, whether they're D1, D2, or D3. They all have members that are higher up, such as the athletic directors, the presidents, and trainers, safety trainers, and stuff like that. They actually make up the NCAA, and they're the members that vote on new rules and regulations and keep the NCAA running. The NCAA also has its own president and own board under the president that also keep the NCAA going. The NCAA is broken down into three divisions: Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. Like I said before, D1, D2, and D3. Division 1 is made up of 351 schools, or 32% of the NCAA. Division 2 is made up of 308 schools, or 28% of the NCAA. And Division 3 is made up of 443 schools, or 40% of the NCAA. This is all totaling the 1,117 schools under the NCAA organization. According to the NCAA, 1 in every 25 students at a D1 school are a student athlete, and 1 in every 11 students at a D2 school are a student athlete, and 1 in every 6 students at a D3 school are a student athlete. This number is so drastically different because D1 and D2 schools can give out full rides or athletic scholarships, whereas D3 schools cannot. And a lot of D3 school students are students that are trying to get better at the sport to reach a certain talent level, or are just playing there because it's a passion of theirs. They have no hopes of going to the professional league. The NCAA has a lot of rules and regulations in place to keep student athletes not only safe, but doing the right thing and making sure they abide by these rules. A few of the main ones are ethical conduct. That's just saying that student athletes have to be honest and play with the utmost amount of sportsmanship that they can at all times. And they have to basically do what's morally right and don't hide things that they know is not right just because they know that person. Another rule is amateurism. It basically just says you have to stay within an amateur state. You cannot be considered a professional. You cannot be paid, because if you are paid, you are now considered a professional. And you cannot have any verbal or written agreement to play a professional sport anywhere outside of your college or university. And doing any of these will make you ineligible to play. Another rule is the financial aid rule. You are not allowed to accept any money or financial bonuses from any outside institution, whether that be a sponsorship, an endorsement, money from an agent, anything. 4. Another rule, which would be the fourth one, is the academic standard rule. You have to be in good academic standing according to whatever school or university you are attending. Every school is different, but that is just the broad aspect of it for the NCAA. And you have to be a full-time student in at least a bachelor's degree program. Another rule that kind of goes into more outside of the school part, but into another part of the sports part, is you cannot play more than 4 seasons in any sport, and you are ineligible at that school if you were enrolled in over 5 calendar years of courses. Another rule being the drug rule, and basically just says if you test positive for any drug, you're suspended indefinitely. There are three consequences. The first one is a 365-day ban, and you cannot play for a full season. And the list goes on. They're basically all the same, but it just depends on what substance. Now I'm going to get into what that NCAA actually does. The NCAA holds students to an academic standard. They basically are the ones who say they can or cannot play other than the university, but they have a higher say. And in the future, the NCAA is going to actually give more revenue to schools that have student athletes that perform academically at a higher rate. The NCAA tries to keep their athletes healthy, and they care tremendously about their well-being. The NCAA likes to ensure that student athletes are both physically and mentally okay to play the sport that they love, and they are really cautious and caring about head injuries, like any other sport, but they like to keep the minds of the student athletes, which are young, in good shape. In some cases, they even provide medical coverage for student athletes in case a career-ending injury comes along, or anything around in that order, whether it be career-ending or just a severe injury. There's usually a professional from the organization at a university's practices or just on the campus to kind of oversee programs, like how they participate, like in practice and stuff like that, to try and make sure they are as safe as can be. The NCAA tries to provide a fair and fulfilling environment for the student athletes. They like to help with success post graduation. They also like to ensure that students get the most out of their education, whether you're going professional after, or your intention to go professional after school, or if you're just going to live a normal life, get your degree and find a job and a career. Some schools under the NCAA, the bigger ones, the bigger name sports schools, they actually will provide a full cost scholarship, meaning you do not have to pay anything. All expenses are paid, whether not even just academically, but if you have like a phone bill or other day-to-day expenses that you need that are not need, but in today's day and age, what you need to survive. The NCAA cares so much about their student athletes' education that if you're in an injury that takes away your ability to play that sport, they won't take your scholarship away. They do this just to to make it so that just in case you cannot play, you can still make it somewhere in life with that degree, and or it doesn't make your time there a waste. The NCAA likes to back their athletes with the knowledge and information to go to the professional state. They like to try and not only show you aspects from the professional point of view, but from the business aspect to try and make you more aware of what you're actually going into. The NCAA is an organization that strives on helping their students succeed, whether that's on or off the game or during school or post graduation. That is going to conclude my speech. I hope you guys learned something from it, and thank you for taking the time to watch.